graders, this is your math video for Wednesday, April 22nd, and I'm going to be using the whiteboard quite a bit. So you're just going to need to have your notes out and be following along, be ready to go. Before we get into the lesson, I'm going to go back over number 18 that I assigned with that A, B, and C, and then give you the answers to 20 through 24. So we'll start with that, but then after that we're going to go into our notes, and so just remember you can always pause the video and stop it for a little bit and then get your notes caught up and do a little work on those, and then start it again so you can keep going. But let's begin with going back over number 18 that I assigned yesterday, and then let's see how you did on that, and then we're going to go into what is called the box and whisker or box plots, so something new today. Okay, just also a little reminder, tomorrow is Thursday, and that is going to be your check-in day with your homeroom teacher. So we are not having our check-in day on Friday because that's an in-service day, and we're going to be coming into school at different times and just putting packets together for you guys to pick up the following week. So that you can have some work to do for May. So Friday's what we're calling an in-service day. So check-in day is Thursday with your homeroom, and so you will not be getting videos and work from me on Thursday. I will just be checking in with homeroom classes, or my class, and the rest of you need to check in with your homeroom teacher, and then we'll start again on Monday with videos and covering some different work things. Also for math, we are going to do our check-in here on Wednesday, so this afternoon. You will need to get on to Zoom with me and check in with me and show me your math papers that you've done. So you would be showing me Monday's paper, Tuesday's paper, and then this one we're going over here, this number 18. Okay, so let's get started. This is going to possibly be a bit longer just because I've got to go over quite a bit with you guys. Okay, here we go. So number 18, that's the paper that you were assigned yesterday. So you were to make a frequency table and a dot plot of the quiz scores. Okay, so there to the right, they had a box for you that had the quiz scores. Okay, so on the board, I am going to put down, I'll title it Quiz Scores. Frequency table and a dot plot. I'm going to try to do those really close to each other here so we can see them and kind of compare the two different types of tables. Okay, let's put scores here. This was making our frequency table, tally, and frequency. Okay, if you went to that box and you looked at the different scores, every time you saw a score, you could put it down here. So we see that there's a 2. Someone scored a 2. So now as I scan that box, I don't see any other 2s, but I do see 1. So that means one person, tally, one person scored a 2. Here's our scores. That was a frequency of 1. Okay, scanning the box, I saw a 6. One person scored a 6. That's a frequency of 1. We saw some 7s, 2 of them. Okay, frequency 2. So 2 people scored a 7. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people scored an 8. 9. 1, 1. And then 10. 3. 1, 2, 3. We saw 3 10s. That means 3 people scored a 10. Now that was the highest, so we're guessing that was the highest score. So it went from a 2 to a 10 for this group. Now let's see how many data pieces we had. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That means there was 12 people taking this quiz. So we have 12 pieces of data. So we have 12 quizzes. And here we see it went from a 2 to a 10. Okay, now let's create, I made that probably a little bigger than I was hoping, but let's do it over here, and let's do our dot plot. So here we go, there's our line. Okay, now down below we could say scores. Okay, so it started with a 2. We know that one person had a 2. Okay, did anyone score a 3? Nope. Did anyone score a 4? Nope. Did anyone score a 5? Nope. How about a 6 though? Yep, when we got to 6, one person scored a 6. 7? Yep, 2. 1, 2. 8. Oh, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, what about a 9? One person. And 10. Back to here, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we have created, up here we can title this one too, quiz scores. Okay, so now we have a frequency table and we have a dot plot for the same information, for the same data. Our quiz scores went from a 2 to a 10. We can see that we just transferred this information over here. Now let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 12. Yep, we have all 12. So there's our 12 data pieces. Okay, let's go back now. So we made our frequency table and a dot plot of the quiz scores. We did it. Frequency table, dot plot. Okay, there's letter A. Now use either the frequency table or the dot plot to identify any outliers. Which display did you use? Explain your choice. Okay, let's look at that. Letter B. If we're looking at these two types of displays, the dot plot is going to show us visually things a little faster. Okay, first of all, we see in this, based on the way that this is set up, we see that the data really sits here from 6 to 10. This is the bulk of data. This is, one kid got a 6, 2 got a 7, 4 got an 8. So here's our data. It sits right in this area. We do see, because of this, that there is an outlier. One person got a 2. Now, no one got a 3, no one got a 4, no one got a 5, so we could call this an outlier. It's way over here. Someone gets a 2 on this quiz, but then the bulk of them, the bulk of the kids fell between a 6 and a 10. So we would want to use a dot plot. That is much easier to see than this over here. So a dot plot is an easier display to see outliers, to see where the bulk of the data is, because it's sitting right here. And we can see a mode. Oh, 8 was the mode that had the most. So this right here is an easier display to see these things that we're looking at, like outliers, modes. Dot plots work better for that. So for that second part, you could have said something about the dot plot because it displays the distribution of data. It shows it and you can see it better. Okay, now there was one more thing I wanted you to do. For this information right here, I wanted you to find a mean, a median, and a mode. Okay, I'm going to erase this one just so we have room and we can see what we're going to do here. We're going to use this information though, we'll leave the dot plot up. And now if we were going to find a mean, a median, and a mode, this is what we would need to do. Okay, first of all, I'm going to take my data and I'm just going to put it in order as I put it up on the board. That way I can find the median a little faster. So we know we had 1, 2. That one of them, there's a 2. Then we didn't have any 3, 4, 5, so we don't need to put those down. Next we had a 6. So we're going to put a 6 down. Then we had 2 7s. Because that each represents, this person got a 7, this person got a 7. Now we have 4 8s, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we had 1 9, and then we had 1, 2, 3. Okay, there is our data. There should be 12 pieces of data there. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We always want to do that to make sure we have it all. There's our 12 pieces of data. Now, if we're going to find a mean, we're going to take our total and divide it by 12, right? Because there's 12 pieces. Well, I add this all up, it should come up to 93. So I'm going to take my 93 and divide it by 12. What do I get? I did it already, a 7.75. Okay, so that means my average here is around a 7.75, close to an 8. Well, that kind of makes sense because our mode is an 8, right? We know that. And let's find a median. Let's put the mode down. We know that it's 8. Okay, now the median. Remember, there's 12 pieces of data. That's an even number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is our middle point. There's 6 here. There are 6 here. So what's the median? Well, we don't have to do it. Remember, it's the mean of 8 and 8. 8 and 8 plus 16 divided by 2, that'd be 8. Okay, so our median is an 8. Okay, those all are very close. But the average, and every time you guys took a test, remember I give you the class average, I'd say, okay, our average for this class, for this test, so I was giving you that mean. Okay, this is the average of all of you guys. This is what you guys were able to get on that test. All right, that's 18, letter A, letter B, and then the one I wanted you to do here, letter C. Now, I'm going to give you the answers to 20 to 24. I'm just going to read those to you, so listen carefully, and then we need to get on to our box and whisker. Okay, number 20, you should have had letter D. 21, you should have had letter H. On 22, 40. 23, I think it's, 60. It's good to have my glasses on. And 24, 52. Okay, so those were your answers for those. Check yours and see how you did on those. All right, now I'm going to erase this and get going on the next section. The best thing for you to do is to have your book out and ready to go, because I'm going to use an example in the book, and then I'll give you another example, and then I'm going to show you the ones you're going to do for today. I'm not going to assign a lot of these, but I just want you to practice and get going on these. There is a bit to teach you with this, so make sure you have your math notes out and you can write as I am putting these things up on the board. Okay, let's start here. First of all, 9-4, so let's put that at the top of our notes. 9-4, box and whisker plot. Okay, box. Now, what's kind of fun is that you're going to see why it's called this, or sometimes you'll see box plot. Okay, that's another name you'll see for it. You'll see why it's called this in a minute. Okay, box and whisker plot or box plot. What does it do? So what's the definition of this? Okay, so we're going to define a box plot, or what we're calling a box and whisker. This is the definition. It shows how a set of data is distributed. Okay, we are dealing in a section that is just talking a lot about data, and what do we do with this data? What does this data mean, and what is this data telling us? Okay, we're finding different things we can do with data. Find a mean, find a median, find a mode, find outliers. We have been looking at now how could we graph this data, put it into a frequency table, put it into a dot plot. Now we're going to do another type of thing, and that is we could take data and we could put it into what's called a box and whisker or a box plot. Now sometimes your parents have used this. Sometimes it's kind of funny. Some kids will talk to their parents about this, and some have done it and used it for others. Don't really have a need for it, but you have to see if your parents ever use these. Okay, so we're looking at how we can show that this distribution of data. Now, the first thing is we will take our data, we will need to find 5 key values. So I want you to write these down. These are the 5. We're going to be doing 5 key values. Once we find those, then we will be graphing those, but I'll show you how we will find 5 key values, and we're going to do this from the example in the book. Okay, here are our 5 key values that we will be looking for. The first thing is we will find the least. So we will find the least value. This will make more sense once we're doing it. Second is we're going to find this thing called a lower quartile. Okay, this is new for you guys. You guys know what a least value is, but a lower quartile is is a new term, and this is what it is. It is the median, which we should know now, middle number, the median of the lower half of the data. Okay, so least value, we know what that is. Lower quartile, this is going to be the median, the middle number of the lower half of the data. I'll show you how to find that. Okay, 5 key values. Remember, this is what we're going to be looking for. The median of the data. Okay, we know what a median is now. Number 4, upper quartile. Well, if we have the lower quartile, we obviously probably need the upper quartile. Okay, if the lower quartile is the median of the lower half, the upper quartile is the median of the upper half of the data. Okay, so that's the next thing. And then the last thing, let's move this, and then we're going to move our video. Number 5, well, if we have the least value, we're going to have the greatest value. Okay, there's our 5 key values. Now, how do we do this? Okay, let's move over here. So we have our 5 key values. This is how we're going to do it. First of all, we're going to look at our data, whatever information we're gathering. The first thing we're going to do, so number 1, we are going to order the data from least to greatest. Okay, that's a simple process. We've been doing this a lot. We're going to order that data. Like when we're finding a median, we order that data. Here's our least, here's our greatest. We find the middle number. That's finding the median. We're just going to be doing the exact same thing, ordering the data. Second thing is we're going to find the 5 key values. Okay, that's the ones we just talked about. We're going to find those 5, and I'll show you how to do this. We're going to circle them so we know exactly what they are. The last thing is we will graph the 5 key values on a number line. And I will show you how to graph those. Okay, we're going to graph those. So 3 steps. Ordering the data that we've been given. We're going to find the 5 key values. And then we're going to graph those on a number line. Okay, now in order to do this, I need to erase this. So again, it's here. You can pause it. You can keep writing if you're still writing and I went a little too fast. Put this down on your paper, and then let's practice this. Okay, so here we go. We're going to erase. Now we're going to go to a problem in your book. So I'm going to just take that one first so I can help you with that, and you can see how to do that, and then we'll make up one. All right. Okay, here we go. On page 323, it is example number 1. 323 says a girls basketball team had the following scores. Now it's going to list a bunch of scores: 7, 10, 16, 18, 20, 22, 22, 25, 30, 37, 43. Fortunately, they've ordered it already right there in order for us. Now it says construct a box and whisker plot to represent the data. Sometimes they're not going to order it like that for us, so we're going to need to do that. But let's just practice this and be thankful they did it for us this time. All right, here we go. I'm going to move this so I can see it. We are going to put that, remember, we're going to find those 5 key values. That's our data. They've given us the data. The data is this, the scores of this girls basketball team. So let's put the data on the board. 7, 10, okay. So I gotta be able to see so I don't get us off track. 7, 10, 16, 18, 20, 22, another game of 22, 25, 30, 37, and 43. Now, this is something we need to do before we get going on finding the 5 key values. We need to make sure we have all the data. So I always go back and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 pieces of data. I better have 11 on my paper or I'm going to be completely off. It's going to throw me off here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, hopefully I did them all and I did them correctly, but there was 11 on the paper, 11 on the board. We should be good. Now, we already know because we counted them that that's an odd number. So that's going to help us with this finding the median, right? Because it's odd. Now, remember our 5 key values. Those should be in your notes. Least. Okay, so I'm going to circle it. This is the least. These two are always the easiest to find. The greatest. Okay, here's our least and our greatest. Remember, I needed both those things. We need 5. Least, greatest. Okay, we need the median. I always say just do the median next. Okay, now we had an odd number, so let's just count over. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is our median. That's our perfect middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's our 5 pieces there. Here's our 5 pieces there. So we had a perfect middle. Now, if we want to say, okay, this was least, this is greatest, this is the median. Okay, remember there's 2 more things now. These are kind of new terms for us. Lower quartile, upper quartile. Okay, this is my lower quartile. This is my lower half of the data. Now, I'm not going to include the median sitting right here, so it's its own little person. We're gonna look at the lower quartile. Now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 pieces in that lower quartile. So we have a perfect middle again, right here. LQ. Okay, there's 2 pieces here, 2 pieces here. This is our lower quartile. Now, let's skip over the median. Remember, it's its own little thing. Now, here's our upper quartile. Perfect middle again. This is going to be our upper quartile. Okay, now I have found my 5 key values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, step 1, order them. Step 2, find the 5. Step 3, graph it. Okay, so I'm going to come down here. I'm going to put this on a graph. Now, we have talked a lot about graphing. The thing that we need to think about is what makes sense. Okay, our numbers go from 7 to 43. So what's going to make sense on this graph? Well, I would say we've got to graph the 5 key values. So I would say probably counting by tens, because we have to go all the way from 7 to 43. So what we could do, and I think this is how the book did it too, they just counted by tens. And I believe in their example, they just made every little hash count 2. So, okay, so let's say we had 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. We got to get to 43, so that makes sense. So then they made everything like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48. My pen's dying on me. Okay, so now we've created our number line that makes sense to this data. Least. So 2, 4, 6, the first number is a 7. So I'm just going to go 2, 4, 6 right here. And when we go to graph it, I'm going to do this in orange, so hopefully you can see it a little bit better. And it will show up. Okay, so there we go. There's our 7. You graph it above the number line. Okay, so we've graphed our 7. 16. Okay, 10, 12, 14, 16. Okay, right on that. 16. Okay, there we go. 22. 20, 22. Okay, there we go. 22. 30. There's our 30. And 43. 40, 42. That'd be 44. So we're going to go in between. That would be on 43. Now we have our 5. Got to make sure we have 5, right? Because we found 5 key values. Now this is where the box plot or the box and whisker comes into play. We are going to create a box around the 3 middle numbers. So this is what we're doing. We're creating a box. So we have, here's our box. And I made it a little too big. You don't have to make it that big, but there you go. You get the idea. Now we're going to create the whiskers. So we're going to draw lines out to those. That's why it's called box and whisker. Maybe it kind of looks like a kitty cat's whiskers. So here's our box or box plot. So we have our 5 key values. Now, technically this is representing a fourth of the data each one. So like this would be a fourth right here. This would be a fourth. This would be a fourth. This would be a fourth. that's all the data. That would make it 4 over 4, that's the whole thing, all the data. Okay, so if we went from this dot to this dot, we would say a fourth plus a fourth plus a fourth, that would be 3/4 of the data. Then there'd be 1/4 left. Or if we went from, or we said, well, how much data is represented within this whole box right here? Well, 1/4 plus 1/4 is 2/4, so that would be a half of the data. Here's 1/4, that'd be 3/4 of the data. Add that, that'd be 4/4. So that's kind of how this breaks up. It's not always gonna be so, like sometimes the box is gonna be way over here or way over here, but that's kind of how it's broken up. Okay, now let's do an example. I'm gonna erase this, and let's do an example. Usually we take some information from you guys. That's something that's been kind of fun. I will take information. So I'm just gonna have to use information from the past because we can't be here to talk to each other. So one thing that's kind of fun, we will take a survey and we'll see how many pets you guys have in your homes. And this is one we've done in the past, and kids seem to really like to talk about how many pets. And so I'm just going to give you some numbers here and show you how this would work. So now, this time, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We pulled 8 people and asked, okay, how many pets do you have in your house? And so, if I'm going around the room and someone says, oh, we have 6, wow, that's a lot. 2, 1, okay, so forth. I'm just going to write down every time. Okay, we had, one kid says I have 6. Maybe, maybe that's Cameron, right, with all those animals out on her farm. Okay, so we would go through and talk to you guys, and we would find out how many pets. Well, we're going to talk to 8 kids. So this is what we had. We had a kid that had 6. We had a kid that had 2. A kid that had 1. Another person had 2 pets. That's probably pretty normal. 3. Someone said 5. Someone said 4. Another person said 3. And we talked to 8 kids. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there's our 8 kids. Now, we're going to take this information and say, okay, let's make a box plot based on how many pets these kids have. Well, remember, here's my data. Now I am going to take that data and I'm going to order it. That is the first thing I'm going to do. So it started with a 1. You can even cross it off. Okay, I've used that 1. Now this person said they have 2 pets. This person said they have 2 pets. Okay, there's those. Now we have someone who said, oh, I have 3 pets. Maybe that's a dog, cat, and a goldfish. Here's another one. Okay, another person had 3. Now we have a 4. Maybe a couple cats, couple dogs. 5. Oh boy, and a 6. Okay, maybe a hedgehog in there. Who knows what all we've got going on with these pets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need to make sure I have all my data. Okay, there's our data. Now we've ordered it from least to greatest. That would be step 1. Step 2, we need to find the 5 key values. Okay, here we go. Least, greatest. Now, let's do a median. Okay, we had 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, middle, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's not a perfect middle, but our median is going to fall between this 3 and this 3, so our median is a 3. The mean, the average of these, obviously is 3. So now, there's our median. That's 3 of the 5. Now, here's our lower quartile. Because our median isn't, our median's not sitting in here, we couldn't circle it because this was an even number of data. Here's our median, we circled it, it's up here. So we're going to take from here to here, and this is our lower quartile. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, well, there's not a perfect middle here either. But this is pretty easy because our median for the lower quartile would fall right here between these 2 and these 2. So that would be a 2. Okay? Now let's go over here. Here's our upper quartile. Okay, there's 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, this is where the median would fall. Since it's 4, there's not a perfect middle. Okay, now what would fall between 4 and 5? Well, that would be 4.5. Now you could have, you could take 4 plus 5, that's 9. Take 9, cut it in half, divide it by 2. You're going to get 4.5. Okay? So now we have our 5 pieces of data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So step 1, right? We ordered it. Step 2, we found our 5 key values. What's step 3? We graph it. Now, we need to ask ourselves, we're going from a 1 to a 6 this time. Remember last time we were going from, what, 7 to 43? Well, what's going to make sense on this one? Well, obviously probably just counting by ones, because this isn't going to be very hard. So we could go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, now let's graph it. 1. That was one of our key values. We need a 2. That's our lower quartile. We need 3. That's our median. 4.5, so it's between 4 and 5. That, remember, upper quartile. And then our last one, 6. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to box. Obviously, if you have lined paper, you can make this real neat. Box. Now we get to put the whiskers on. Okay, so now we've created, and we could say up here, we could say number of pets. Okay, number of pets for 8 people that we interviewed. Okay, so now we have our box plot, or our box and whisker. So if we were just given this and not all the data and this information, we were just giving a box plot, that's all we saw, we could go back and we could pull out our 5 key values. Well, we'd say, oh, look, our least value was a 1, so we could find that just by looking at our graph. Oh, the lower quartile, 2. Median, 3. 4.5 was the upper quartile, and 6 is the greatest value. So we could just take this right here and work backwards and find our 5 key values based on that graph. Now, today, this is what we're going to start with. If we were all together, I'd probably have you do this all in one, but I've already probably talked long enough here. And so, today what I need you to do is on page 325, I am going to have you do 4, 5, and 6. You're just going to work on creating a box plot or box and whisker. The directions say, tell how many observations are in the data set, then construct a box and whisker plot to represent the data. So why they're saying tell how many observations are in the data set is don't miss one of them. If you miss one of these, it skews it all. It's going to be off. So you've got to go to number 4, and you're going to create a box and whisker for the cost of a haircut in dollars at a local hair salon. Okay, now, people were polled, and so they were asked, okay, how much do you pay for a haircut? Novel idea, getting a haircut right now. So, 42, 14, 26, this is in dollars. So some people are paying $55 for a haircut. Okay, 60, 35, that is your data. Now, you're going to take that data and you're going to need to order that data. So you're going to have to order that from least. Well, it looks like there's a person out there who found a pretty inexpensive salon and they're paying 14 bucks. Okay, so you're going to order that data. Then, after you order it, follow your steps. 5 key values. Then you're going to graph it. Now, make sure you don't leave a piece of data out. It's going to throw your whole thing off. All right. Just scanning those numbers, it looks like when you go to graph it, you're going from probably like a 14 to 60. So you're going to need to think about that. What would make sense? Number 5, number of items in a grocery store cart. Oh, that's interesting. Go around and you see how many things people are putting in their cart, how much they're coming into the store for. What essential items are they buying? Okay, so now you're going to go 18, 49, 5. Someone has five things in their cart. Another person, if you're scanning this list, has what, 56? Okay, that would be like my cart right now, shopping for my children. So you're going to take all that data, you're going to order it, box and whisker. The last one I'm going to have you do today. So you're doing number 4, you're doing number 5, and you're going to do number 6. The height in feet of the 10 demonstration trees in the arboretum are, okay, now they give you all those heights. The next part, what 5 numbers need to be graphed above the number line? For number 6, they're not having you create the box whisker, but they're having you find the 5 key values. So you need to go through and do what you would normally do. Order that data and then find your 5 key values. The only little difference on number 6 is that they're not having you create a box and whisker, but you're just gonna find the 5 key values. All right, okay, let's see. That's where we're gonna stop for today. So we're gonna do number 4, number 5, and number 6, finding those 5 key values. Okay, hopefully you're feeling good about this. Remember, you can always rewatch parts if you didn't understand it, or pause it. And so hopefully this will make sense. And this is happening on Wednesday. And then remember, I will see you on Zoom today to have our math check-in, because tomorrow's like your Friday, even though it's Thursday. On that check-in, this does not have to be done. This will put to next week, because you're getting it right now, but I'm going to be checking in with you on the paper you did for Monday and the paper you did for Tuesday. Okay, have a great afternoon, and hope to see you all on Zoom. Bye-bye.